Hi everyone, in this episode we will talk about pressure. Can you take the pressure? Now we know that missing nozzles need at least 60 psi. That's the bare minimum. We don't want to run our system at the bare minimum. So as a safety zone, we like to keep our system above 80 psi. Now this is a big problem that I see out on the internet with all the other high pressure aeroponic grower. They think more is better. I'm going to prove to you they are wrong. Personally, I will not go above 130 psi when it comes to pressurizing my aeroponics system. And I have big reasons why I won't exceed that. Don't be misled by hype, by advertisement, or whatever that higher pressure will guarantee you more success. It won't. It does not make a difference. It's just a way for them to make more money. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay, as I stated, I will not operate my system above 150 psi. Why? Well, one big reason is because of cost. The higher you go, the more it's going to cost you. And I'm not talking about just another few dollars. I'm talking about hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars if you try to go above 200 psi. When you pressurize your system above 150 psi, you have exceeded most tubing and fittings used conventionally in water systems. If we stick with using components that are off the shelf for water purification, we dramatically decrease our costs. But once you go above 150 psi, you leave the realm of that area. All of a sudden, you go into more a pricey, industrialized, you can kind of say, cost. Most tubing, plastic tubing, are rated at 150 psi. Most quick connect fittings are rated at 150 psi. But if you plan to go up higher, you would have to start to use stainless steel, brass, whatever fittings to be able to. Why go above 150 psi just to incur a higher cost when our nozzles don't need to, when 80 to 100 psi is sufficient. Also, the higher pressure you go, the more likelihood you're going to have failures and blowouts. As we stated before, our accumulator or pressure tank is rated at a working pressure of 100 psi. That means that if we try to pump our system up to 200, 1,000, some ridiculous amount of number, just because we like to have bigger numbers, you are putting yourself at harm's way. Your pressure tank can actually blow up in your face, which can be deadly, or which can be severely dangerous to you and to whoever is in your house. So definitely, we don't want to go up to a high pressure rating of above 150 psi. Also, at a higher pressure rate, if you do suffer a blowout, you will actually lose more nutrient and have a larger mess to clean up. So why even bother going to a higher pressure rate? Also too, when you go to a higher pressure, you put more strain on your pump. The pump that we are using can no way can go up to above 200 or even 1,000 psi, which is some. Every time when I hear that people are using it, I just thinking that they're just crazy. But anyway, if you are using a system that has the capability to go above 200 psi, your pump draws more power. That means that it has the possibility of overheating, burning out, and causing more frequent system failure. Why even go there when it's not necessary? So this is another reason why I stay away from anything above 150 psi, because I don't want to pay more for my pump and I don't want to incur a failure so frequent. Anytime you go over 150 psi or 200 psi, you will incur extra costs. And I'm not talking about just a few bucks. I'm talking about hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars. Why not use that money that you would have spent on high pressure system in having redundancy in a lower pressure system that averages around 100 to 150 psi? Use that money to buy extra pumps. Use that money to buy extra solenoids. Use that money to buy extra accumulator tanks. This way, when you do suffer failure, you already have components to back you up because of redundancy. That's another thing. If you want to build a high pressure system, why not use the money that you would have spent in a high pressure system in a redundant system? That means that your system will have 2 pumps, 2 tanks, or maybe 3 tanks and 3 pumps, whatever you want. Use that for redundancy. That would benefit you much longer than putting in a higher pressure system. There is no need to put in a higher pressure system. Okay, so to recap, we do not need to go above 150 psi. There is no reason that we need to, because our nozzles are rated already at 60 and we will be running them between 80 and 100 psi. That means that we would generate plenty of droplet size that are 50 microns or less. So stick with a lower high pressure unit. Stay around 130 psi. I run mine between 80 and 100 psi, and that is plenty of misting power. So please subscribe right here now on Aeroponics DIY and let us take you where no gardener has gone before.